Welcome to the weekly broadcast to expose and enlighten you on the truth as prescribed by the scripture on various issues in our world. The Bible says in Psalm 119 verse 130 that the entrance of His word gives light and it gives understanding to the simple. God bless you as you enjoy today's message.
Tonight we are going to pick the 7 fundamental laws of life. The 7 fundamental laws of life. By the end of the day, you are going to see how your life is going to be projected and how easy your life will be. So we started our series on Monday by the grace of God, and from our scripture we go to call unto me and I will answer, and I will show you great and mighty things thou knowest not. And we learned that the essence of life is the acquisition of knowledge. Knowledge defines life. The authority of life and the simplicity of life is founded on the access of knowledge. So we got to know that anytime somebody is in crisis, is because the person lacks knowledge. Hosea 6 verse 4. My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. That means anybody in any distraction, in any form of life, is because of a kind of knowledge the person lacks. My people are not destroyed because of demons. Christians are not destroyed because of witchcraft. Christians are not destroyed because of the powers of the enemy. Christians are destroyed because of their lack of knowledge. Christians are perishing in school, in marriages, in work, in finances, in all aspects of their life, not because the devil is more powerful, but because they lack the essence of knowledge. That's why when they call unto me, according to Jeremiah 33 verse 3, I will show them things they don't know, because the access to life is the access to revelation. Because revelation determines reception. Revelation determines reception. Because your access to intervention is the acquisition of revelation. And we got to know that it is intercession built on revelation that releases man to the place of access to intervention. So nobody can be able to receive the intervention of God without the essence of revelation. And we got to understand that the essence of revelation is in its application. So revelation without application is frustration, but revelation with application produces transformation. So it takes an essence of application on the revelation acquired to release you to the place of transformation. Because the essence of the release of revelation is to bring transformation. Because as soon as you receive a revelation and you apply the revelation, your life turns around. And the turning around of your life and the changing system of your life is what we call transformation. So revelation without application only lands a man in frustration. It takes applied knowledge to enter the place of access. And we got to know that the revelation of God are actually the secrets of God. And the secret of God is anchored on the place of trust. That means if you are not part of the trust system of God, you cannot have access to His secret, which is actually the knowledge to release you to the place of access. I feel the Lord now. So, the essence of trust and the significance of trust is the determinant key factor to release a man to the place to access the secrets of God. That means a wrong attitude from you and a wrong perception can let you miss the secrets of God. And we got to know that the secrets of God are actually the keys to the provisions of life. And we told you that it's not about many keys you use. It's about the key, the right key. That means the access you have to the secret of life gives you the authority and the power and the key to be able to receive that which life has for you. And the secrets that we are talking about, which are the keys, are actually what we call the laws that determines how things are supposed to run. Because the knowledge that you receive from God, which is the revelation, are actually the governing system that leads man to the place of dominion. Genesis 1 verse 20, we have to know that man was created after the image and the likeness of God unto dominion on earth. God gave man mandate to have dominion on the earth. Dominion is having the governing principles to be able to cause systems of God to manifest on man. So the essence of dominion is for God to be represented and represented on earth. The essence of dominion is for God to be represented and represented on earth. That is why at the place of dominion, man is able to bring creation under the governing system of God. So that at the end of the day, all creation will be walking on the path to the purpose of God. Because the governing principles serves as the pathway to be able to enter the gate of the purpose of God. Because God created out of his purpose. And God created to satisfy a dream that was in him. Because it was the dream in him that propelled creation to come. So the essence of man's living is to be able to bring creation under the governing principles, which will serve as the roadmap, which will serve as the guideline, which will serve as the methodology, my God, which will serve as the way, the truth, the life, to be able to assess the purpose of God that was in God before beginning began. And these governing principles are what we call the laws of life. And we got to know again that these laws of life become the yardstick for order. Because where there's disobedience, there's disorderliness. And where there's disorderliness, there's distraction. And where there's distraction, there's death. That means anytime there's a distraction on our life, it's because we are not upholding a particular law God has given to us. Because any break of the law will lead you to the place of distraction. So the simplicity of life is found in the presence and activation of a law. Don't forget, the law is that secret that gives you access to life. And we got to know that the laws are the system that preserves, that protects, that saves, that determines the functionality of the elements of life. Creation is acting and operating the way it's operating because of laws. The day your stomach will decide to break the law, that is when you have gastric issues. And violations of laws always lands you in distraction. Men are always destroyed for lack of knowledge. What is that lack of knowledge? That lack of knowledge will let them break a law. Because at the presence of law enforcement, there's nothing like, I didn't know. I didn't know is the language of the fool who is already heading towards the place of distraction. But this evening, the Lord is bringing somebody out in Jesus' name. So we have certain fundamental laws of life. And tonight, we are picking them one by one by the grace of God. The first law of life is the law of difference. The law of difference. Help me teach this, Lord. The law of difference. Genesis chapter 1, verse 26. Genesis chapter 1, verse 26. Somebody say the law of difference. Somebody say the law of difference. Genesis chapter 1, verse 26. Genesis 1, verse 26. He said, and God said, let us make man in our image, after our likeness. Now, follow me here. Man was created after the image of God. What's the image of God? The image of God represents the reflection of God. What God represents was the yardstick for creating man. Who is God? God is holy. Now, when we say God is holy, holiness means uncommonness. Holiness doesn't mean sinlessness. Holiness means uncommonness, that which is not common. The reason why God is holy is because He is one. And He's not just one, He's the only one. In the category called God, God is the only one found in the category called God. That's why there's none beside Him, and there's none apart from Him, and there's none to take over Him. God is holy. God is uncommon. God is only one. God is not just one. God is only one. That means that even when you enter into the category called God, there is the only one entity that is found, and that entity is God Himself. God has no co-equal, and God has no equals. God has no co-equal, and God has no equal. And because of this element that builds the foundation of God, that is why we say that God is holy. When we say God is holy, it means that there's none like Him, and there's none that can be compared unto Him. That means God is without comparison, and God is without replacement. God is without alternatives, and God is without substitution. There is none to replace God, even when He is not there. By the way, He cannot be there, because the essence of existence is built on the principle called the principle of pure actuality. Because God is the self-existing God, existing in Himself. God is the definition of existence. That means the day God lives, existence ceases to exist. So existence is existing because of the existence of God. That's why God is holy. There is none that can be compared and replaced and turn and sit on what He occupies. And it is in this holiness that man is created. That means humanity is not common. I'm coming. Follow me. The holiness of God makes God unique among all universe creations and even above creations. Because God is the only one, He is unique. And uniqueness is the expression of difference. Oh. Thank you, Jesus. Can you celebrate my father in the house? Prophet Ohene Bekwin. The Lord bless you, sir. I just feel His anointing at work. My God. Anywhere we stand, we are Ohene Bekwin's boy. Till death do us apart. Some of us, we are not confused. We are not confused at all. At all. We know where we are coming from. Hallelujah. So the uniqueness of God is that which makes, defines, and guarantees God's holiness. And it is this uniqueness that produces and becomes the source and the fountain for the explanation of difference. That means God is the author of difference. God is the author of difference. God is the authenticity of difference. God authenticates difference because God himself is different. God is different. The nature and the essence and the presence and the existence of God is on difference. None can be compared to him. He has no comparison. And he has no competitor. That means even when God is not there, there's none that can occupy his throne. And none can fit into the category that he occupies as God. So God is actually the author of difference. And God is the propounder of difference. And God is the promoter of difference. And God is the authenticator for differences. That means everything that will come from God is wired on the principle of difference. That means no two things from God are the same. Okay? Because in the intrinsic capacities of God lies the roadmap and the expression of uniqueness, which is the explanation of difference. That is why we can have twins, yet their footprint will not be the same. That's why we have nobody on earth, irrespective of their similarity and their resemblance, have different commodities and elements. No element, nothing double, twice, three comes from God are the same. If you go to the plant species, there are so many species of certain plants. That means they are not the same. When it comes to the animal kingdom, so many species, yet not the same. There's nothing that, even in the water kingdom, the marine kingdom, no two waters are the same. What is the difference between river and stream? They are all water body. No two water bodies are the same. Because it is coming from the God of difference. Somebody say the law of difference. So the God of difference is the God who altered differences. That means everything, everybody, every entity coming from this God carries the essence of difference. Difference. The law of difference is that which explains your uniqueness, your separation, your segregation. There's criteria for distinction. And this difference is not based on performance. The difference is not based on activity. Your difference is not based on what you cannot do or what you can do. The difference is not based on what you can say and what you cannot say. The difference is not based on capacity. It's not based on your expression. It's not based on your productivity. The difference is based on the essence of your existence. Because it is the difference that bets you out. It is not what you do that determines your difference. But it is the difference that becomes the principle of your production. So your very existence is based on difference. So you're not different because you are fat and I'm slim. But you are different because it is that which becomes the measurement of life to distinguish you from me. And no two people are the same. Guys. Ooh la 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 la. That is difference. The law of difference. Let's go to verse 28. Genesis 1 verse 28. Is somebody following? Is somebody following? Genesis 1:28. And God blessed them and said, be fruitful, multiply, blah, 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 blah. Get me the next verse. Verse 29. Are you following? Somebody say, I am different. Somebody say, I am different. And the Lord said, behold, I have given you every herb bearing the fruit. You shall eat the meat. The next verse. I want to play. Is it 27? Where it talks about created them male and female. Is it verse 27? Check for me quickly. Somebody shout, I am different. You are an entity that explains the difference of God. Verse Genesis 1:27, he said, for so God created man in his image. In the image of God created he him. Male and female created he them. So the God of difference created one entity. Yet that entity which is bearing the image of God is not God. So first of all, we see the first manifestation of the law of difference. That means that what comes from you will be different. That's why no matter your resemblance to your mother, you are not your mother. No matter your resemblance to your father, you are not your father. No matter how you copy the way I speak, you are not Douglas. Look at the scripture. God created man in his image and his likeness. Irrespective of the image and the likeness of God becoming the emblem of creation for man, the Bible didn't say God created God. Check the verse. It said what? God created what? Man. That means the entity that came from God himself is not God. That's the first manifestation of the law of difference. So, reproduction is actually in obedience to the first law of difference. The fact that you reproduce something doesn't mean the product is the original. It's not the same. It's not the same. Give me the verse again. So God created man. So the image didn't make man God. The likeness didn't make man God. In fact, God was still God and man was still man. So that was the first expression of the image. Are you following? Of the law of difference. Are you following? In the image of God created he him. So still, God was still emphasizing that even though I created him in my image, he is still not me. Even though I created him in my image, he is still not me. He is still man. Now let's go to the place of man. When we came to man, the he, we entered into the he and we saw another entity, male and female. That means first manifestation of the law of difference was God producing man. It wasn't God. When we entered into man, we didn't see two same natures. We saw male and female. That means the law of difference is actually the defining principle of life. No men are the same. All men are not the same. All plants are not the same. All places are not the same. All time are not the same. So you see people who are supposed to do something in the morning and they say, oh, I can do it in the afternoon. That is foolishness. Do you know why? Because the afternoon is not the morning. You see somebody who is supposed to marry this year. He say, oh, we can do it next year. Marry 31st December. Oh, 31st December and 1st January are the same. You are a fool if you say that. Why? Because wisdom is the recognition of difference. Proverbs chapter 4 verse 7. Now let's go deeper. I have not started my message. can we go deeper? Am I preaching at all? I'm preaching at all. Oh la 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 la. Wisdom is the principal thing. Therefore, get wisdom. With all thy getting, get understanding. Wisdom is the principal. That means, principal means the one in charge. The Bible said that by wisdom, God founded the world. By wisdom. By wisdom. By wisdom. So, wisdom is the principal. Wisdom means he's the one in charge. Wisdom is the one in charge. And the one in charge is difference. You understand? Are you following? Because the one in charge is different. Is somebody following? Wisdom is the principal. And the principal means he's the one in charge. And when we went into the one in charge, which is the category called God, that the one in charge is different. That means wisdom is the recognition of difference. Wisdom is your ability to recognize difference. Wisdom is your ability to recognize difference. Wisdom is the ability to recognize difference. 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 That means anybody who is not able to recognize differences, the person leaves the place of wisdom. All guys are the same. You are a fool to say that. All ladies are the same. It's the language of the fool. Oh, all men are the same. That's the language of the fool. Because all men are not the same. All women are not the same. Because of the law of difference. Wisdom is the ability to recognize difference. Difference in attitude. Difference in occasions. Difference in moment, in time. Difference among places. So all two places are not the same. Your bedroom and your hall are not the same. That is why we give different names to different things. Names explains identification. And identification expresses uniqueness. And uniqueness is founded on difference. Names expresses identification. Identification explains uniqueness. And uniqueness is built on difference. Woo! So, your ability to discern and recognize differences, the level at which you're able to see differences among things, people, places, things, time, moment, explains the level of wisdom you're working in. Don't forget that difference is actually the fuel for choice. That's why I always say that the level of wisdom you work in will be measured by the person you marry. We know how wise you are by the person you married. Because selection is the enforcement of difference. You select because there is difference. And be able to know your ability to see the difference by the operation of the wisdom you are working in. So for you to choose John over Johnson tells us that you have been able to see the difference between John and Johnson. But the level of wisdom you are working in will be seen by the choice you have made. So the highest way, or one of the ways to know that somebody is wise, look at the person who he or she married. Forgive. Already. Forgive. I've not said anything. Already. You're on your way to go and marry somebody. Forgive. Already. Already. God created men with difference. Not men with strength. I've taught you that difference is not measured by performance. Difference is measured by existence. 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 So, God is the one who altered differences. So a man's difference is not based on the strength and weakness. So the power of choice does not work according to strength and weaknesses, but it is measured and powered by difference. So you don't select because it can do something, it cannot do something. By the way, it can do something and it cannot do something is that which makes that thing different from the other thing. So strength and weakness is actually the functionality of difference of the person. So taking a decision based on the strength and weaknesses, the pros and cons, the merit and demerit, the benefits and challenges, the advantages and disadvantages, means that you are operating by the law of difference. But many of us tune our attention to weaknesses and benefits than the essence of the benefit and weaknesses, which is difference. So we don't select based on it can do, it cannot do. We select based on differences. If we can all do the same thing, then we are not different. Then there is no need for selection. Then it will render the power of choice nonsense. And it will make God become, in quote, foolish for creating man as a free will entity. Because as a free will entity, you must choose. And in choosing, there must be difference. Because how can you choose where there's no difference? So the creation, constitution, and component and composition of man itself explain that the system man is about to live in is based on a law of difference. And because based on a law of difference, you are going to meet differences among things. That's why you are going to operate your free will. Because free will means choice. And where there's choice, there's differences and uniqueness for the choice to be made. Differences brings attraction. Differences brings different consequences. Your ability to see differences is your ability to see a consequence. Because every difference you are seeing promotes a particular consequence. Differences enables you to get what you want, avoid the pain you hate, and pushes you to enter to the place and love you want. It is the divine treatment to earthly problems. That's difference. And anyone who operates in difference is operating in wisdom. Because wisdom is the ability to recognize difference. With difference, you can avoid a pain you hate. And with difference, you can embrace a benefit you love. The divine treatment to all earthly problems is the enforcement of differences. Differences. That means every earthly problem is because a law of difference was broken. Many people want the fish to fly. And many people want a bird to swim. And that's the beginning of problems. How did man fall? Man fell because man wanted to become something that he was not. He didn't obey the law of difference. Man fell because he thought he was listening to a voice That was God. But that voice is different from the voice of God. Today I was talking to one of my friends and I was telling her that the problem with many relationships and marriages is our inability to recognize differences among people. And our ability to hold on to the differences of voices we carry. How do you compare, contrast what your husband told you to what the taxi driver told you? Are you not a fool to say that? Because your husband is not that taxi driver, and that taxi driver is not your husband. So why do you put them in the same place? Because where you don't understand the law of difference, comparison begins to rule. And comparison is actually the gateway to experimentation. And experimentation is actually the obvious consequence of violating a law. Many people's lives are being broken. And many people are going through frustrations in academics, in finances, just because they are failing to recognize their difference among courses, different among lecturers, difference. Because your ability to recognize the difference among things will determine your ability to adopt the different approach. Because everything has its own methodology. So you don't apply the same rule for Akosia on the same rule on Ya, thinking it will produce the same results. Because they are the same. They are not the same. They are not the same. So anybody who puts everything together is a fool. Because in the language and the setting of a fool, everything is the same. But at the place of wisdom, differences are recognized, are acknowledged, and are obeyed. Difference. So don't compare your first lady to your second lady. Stop comparing your wife to your mother. Stop comparing your firstborn to your lastborn. Stop comparing. You see, the whole thing about comparison and competition is just because men don't understand the system of difference. Difference. We all want everything to be the same. We all want everything to be the same. It will never be the same because of the law of difference. The law of difference. Difference is the essence of living. Difference is the essence of living. Difference is the essence of living. There are differences in mood. Everything you want is in someone different from you. Let me tell you something. The reason for differences and uniqueness is because of complementary. What should I say? It's because of the power of complementary. Okay? Listen. So, differences explain support and complementing elements. That means everything you want in your life is found in someone different from you. All that a man wants is in a woman. All that a woman wants is in a man. All that Kojo wants is in Ya. All that Ya wants is in Akwesi. All that, you see. Difference becomes the yardstick to assess what you want. That's why I said that you only enter the place of access when you understand the law of difference. Because with the law of difference, you are able to avoid a pain you hate and embrace a benefit you love. Why? Because you know exactly where to find what you want. Everything you are looking for is in something or someone different from you. Difference brings uniqueness and provision. Similarity brings frustration. We'll get there. Every one of us was created incomplete. Everybody was created incomplete. Everybody. What did I say? Write the body in your book. I was created as an incomplete being. Write it in your book. I was created incomplete. That means my incompletion is solved by my recognition of difference. This is the reason why many people are proud. Okay? Many people are proud and ego. Excuse me to say something. Can I say it? All people who think they can do things by themselves are fools. Do you know why? Because forgive. Somebody has already understood. Because you were created as an incomplete being. That's it. I don't need help is the expression of foolishness. That is why one of the loudest language of fools is loneliness. I want to be alone and I want things by myself. One of the loudest language of fools is I want to be alone. Because they think being alone means they will find everything they want in themselves. Listen, if you do that, you are disobeying the principle of difference, which is the expression of wisdom. Because wisdom will always see difference. And the difference will let you know that what you want is found in the other person different from you. You see people trying to marry people who are similar to them. You see a quiet person who wants to marry a quiet person. A tall person wants to marry a tall person. A short person wants to marry a short person. A doctor wants to marry a doctor. A pastor wants to marry a pastor. And a prophet wants to marry a prophet. Teacher wants to marry a teacher. A nurse wants to marry a nurse. Everyone was created incomplete. Why? Because of the uniqueness factor. Because of the uniqueness factor. That means we can never be the same. So searching for somebody like you is a search and a journey unto folly. Searching for somebody like you is a search unto folly, because you will never find. What did I say? You will never find. Why? Because there's none beside you and there's none like you, which is actually the language of the category called God. You will never find. Because every person is created unique, and that uniqueness makes the person incomplete, and that incompletion of the person would make the person limited. It is because you are incomplete, that's why you have needs to satisfy. Because if you are all complete, you will not have a need. That's why God is all satisfied. Because that's why He doesn't have a need. Because everything God needs is found in Himself. But every creature, including human beings, are created incomplete. And because we are created incomplete, we are limited beings. And because of our limitations, we are obvious deficient beings. That means there are things we cannot satisfy on ourselves, that we need to depend That's why we have a system of interdependency among creation. That the animal will need the plants for oxygen, and the plants will also need the animal for carbon dioxide. There's a system of interdependence. That is why before man was created, God must create other universe. That's why before you are born, there are people living before you are born. The day you die, there will be people. You are not created and born onto your own. You are born into something called ecosystem. The interaction and the interdependence of the planetary bodies. That's what we are in. So it is foolishness that is always trying to pull somebody to the place of I want to be alone. I want to be alone is actually the language of the fool. I've told you several times that isolation does not mean separation. And going on retreat is not the same as isolation. You see many people, when they want to separate, they want, let's take a break. Oh, I want us to have time for ourselves. You're a fool to say that. Or I want to have time for ourselves, ended up in separation. Why? You don't understand the system. You don't understand the place of the law of difference. You don't understand. You don't understand. So, as you are standing there, no matter who you are, you need somebody who is not like you in order to survive. What did I say? This is a hard statement. You need somebody who is not like you in order to survive. Because the solution to the incompleteness and the deficiency of any man is found in the recognition of difference. Everything is incomplete. That is why relationship is very important. I'll come there. So it is the law of difference that enforces the presence of an application of relationship. Because one of the ways that will help one which is different to assess the other of different is on the place of relationship. So a different thing will meet a different thing and be able to work together and provide an exchange provision without struggle and conflict, because there's something between them called relationship. What is relationship? Relationship is two distinct beings coming together to be able to assess themselves onto the satisfaction of their distinct needs. Oh, I love this. That's relationship. So anywhere relationship is not working, accessibility to the solution of your incompleteness becomes a problem. So if you realize, all those people who always want to be alone always struggle with relationships. Your ability to build relationship is what will usher you to the place of access to the provisions of your need and the satisfaction of your incompleteness as a man. Nothing was created complete. So your brain is not even complete. It needs a sound. It needs a thought, sorry. Your ear, as nice as it is, it's not complete. It needs sounds. Your nose is very beautiful, but my dear, it needs some smell. Every entity on earth is like a vacuum that needs something to occupy it. Decide to walk a day without eating and you see what will happen to you. Decide to walk a day without water and you see what will happen to you. Because every entity of your body and every part of your life is a vacuum. And that vacuum is satisfied by other entities different from you. Your ability not to relate with them will send you to the place of distraction, because you don't understand the system of difference. Difference fuels your passion to receive. If you know that you are different, it becomes the power to receive from people. That is why you don't joke relationships. That's why you don't just break relationship with people. Your difference decides your success. Your similarity defines your comfort. Anytime you find yourself among places that you are similar or the same, you have comfort. But if you want to enter the place of success, it is found on the power of difference. Because the difference solves the incompleteness of the man. And that will power the man to the place of relationship. And that relationship will serve as a passion to receive. So your difference is important than your weakness. So as you are listening to me, my dear one, stop worrying yourself on the things you cannot do. That is what makes you different. If you can preach like the way I'm preaching, then the way I'm preaching and the way you cannot preach is what makes me different from you. The way I prophesy and the way you cannot prophesy is what makes me different from you. It is only foolish people that compares. So comparison is actually the expression of foolishness, because it defiles the place of difference, which is the anchor of wisdom. So instead of focusing on your weakness, my dear, focus on your difference. Now let me chip in something. Focusing is that which magnifies substances. Focusing creates magnifying effect. Anything you focus on enlarges, it magnifies, becomes bigger, no matter how it is. If you focus on your weakness becomes so big. One thing about focus is that it magnifies. Those of us in physics and chemistry realize that anytime we are doing a focus, when your science teacher tells you focus, it means that magnify, because in focus there's a magnifying effect that enlarges and elongates that which you are focusing on. So anytime you are focusing on your weakness, you are rather magnifying the weakness over all other elements that you possess. I cannot speak well, and you are focusing on how you cannot speak well, will not let you speak well. I cannot prophesy, and focusing on I cannot prophesy will not let you prophesy, because that which you focus on receives a magnifying effect which elongates and enlarges the whole thing. So you focus on your difference instead of your weakness, because God uses many men with serious diverse weaknesses, yet with profound differences. Run through the Bible. All the men God used were all full of weaknesses. They all failed with something, but they were all filled with such profound differences, and that's why they produce different results. All men are not the same, and all men don't produce the same results. All men are not the same, and all men don't produce the same results. So what you do is that you study your difference, you magnify your difference, you market your difference, you multiply your difference, then you manage your difference. That is what will send you to the platform of provision and success of life. Study your difference. What makes you different from the other lady in your class? What makes you different? Look out for difference, because it is your recognition and your ability to see the differences that will determine whether you are a wise person. So, because your wisdom is tested on your difference. So, fish out for difference. Always look out for difference. Don't look out for what the person can do and what the person cannot do. Don't look out for what you can benefit and what you're going to struggle. You see, people are going to choose partners based on what they can benefit from the person and what they're going to struggle from the person. That's why the last time I was teaching you about the concept of red flags. I will touch on it one day. It's a falsified system which does not understand the place of difference. Because what makes the red flag is because the person is different from the other person. This person will give a red flag, the other person will give a blue flag. Did you get it? Did you get it? What you don't like about a person is actually that which is making the person different from the other person. So instead of looking out for red flags on people, look out for the color of the flag, because it is the color of the flag that makes the flag different from the other flags. Fish out difference. When you fish out the difference, magnify the difference. Focus on the difference. Magnify it. Make it bigger, bigger. Wow. And when you magnify the difference, you begin to market the difference. Let everybody know the difference this person carries. Let everyone know. Market it. Market the difference. Market your difference. Market the difference of your beloved. Market the difference. Market it. And when you have multiply. You multiply. So you study, you magnify, you market, then you multiply. Find a system that will multiply the difference. So that when we meet a Sean, the way you are talking, dear, have you met a man called Douglas before? He said, oh, yes. Oh, I understand. With the way LC is preaching, have you met a man called Douglas before? Oh, yeah, he's my father. That is why. What does it mean? Difference has been multiplied. So it is in the multiplication and the marketability of difference that will bring the place of celebration. Difference brings recognition. Recognition brings celebration. Celebration brings reward. Anytime you don't see difference, you will not see uniqueness. Anytime you don't see uniqueness, you don't get celebration. And anything that you don't celebrate will leave your life. Let me take it again. When you don't see difference, you don't acknowledge uniqueness. And when you don't acknowledge uniqueness, you don't come to the place of acceptability. And if you don't come to a place of acceptability, you don't enter the platform of celebration. And when you don't celebrate anything, it will leave your life. So the reason why you are not able to celebrate something in your life is because of what we call lack of difference. Because celebration has an opponent called comparison. The opposite of celebration is comparison. Anytime you are not celebrating something, you are comparing the thing. And comparison is the force of the folly. Because comparison never works on the path of wisdom. So instead of comparing people, celebrate the difference among the people. Because comparison always is abusing the law of difference. Because all men are not the same. All men are not the same. All plants, all things are not the same. All things are not the same. Are not the same. So if you are trying to compare, you are a fool. Because you are denying the existence of the God which represents difference. So anything uncelebrated will leave your life. Whether God, whether a miracle, whether a person, whether a thing, whether a prayer, whether an animal, anything you don't celebrate will leave your life. And your willingness to reward a difference is what we call honor. Tomorrow I'm going to teach on the law of honor. But you cannot actually come to the place of fullness of honor if you don't understand the difference difference among people. Difference. Your difference was divinely authorized from God. Your difference was divinely authorized. Your difference was divinely altered. And your difference was divinely authenticated. You have the backing of heaven. You have the fountain of heaven. And you have the legitimacy of God on the uniqueness that you carry. And until you recognize your difference and the difference of people, you will never be able to accept people and even celebrate people. By the way, acceptance brings assurance. Anytime you accept something, you have come to the place where you are identifying their difference, and that one brings the assurance of the thing. But when you come to the place of receiving, there's a difference between acceptance and receiving. Acceptance is the recognition of difference. Receiving is the reward of difference. And receiving brings security, and acceptance brings assurance. So anytime you understand and acknowledge and accept the difference of people, you are assuring the person of its or his or her difference. It is an approval you give to people. So when you meet somebody and you accept the person the way the person is, do you know what you have done? You have approved of the person's difference. You are saying that I approve the way God made you. Anytime you deny the existence of somebody's difference by looking out for comparison, then you are disapproving the difference God has made the person. And that is only reserved for the fool. Because it's only the fool that will say that what God did shouldn't have been done. God should have made my wife like my ex. You are a fool. You are a fool. With no apology. Your difference from others decides your success and how God will use you. It is your difference that will decide your success on earth. Because your success is connected by your difference. But your comfort in life is determined by your similarity. Anytime you are looking for similarity by the force of comparison, you are just looking for comfort. You are not looking for success. If you want to marry a lady like yourself as a man, it means you are looking for comfort, not success. If you want a man who looks like you and behaves like you as a lady, you are looking for comfort, not success. Comfortability is not a guarantee for success. It is the force of difference that causes change. Because change is the force of success. Anywhere there's a change, that is where we find success. Every change, every success comes from the place of change. Because if the thing is not successful and it doesn't change, it will not become successful. So it is the force of change that will move an unsuccessful thing to a successful thing. It's the force of change that will move something that is bad to something good. But your ability to recognize even the difference between good and bad is what will engineer the force of success in somebody's life. Lift up your hands and begin to speak in tongues. Father, open my eyes onto the place of wisdom. In Jesus' name, open your mouth and begin to pray in tongues. Let wisdom before us. Your success from people is your difference from people. Do you know that the smallest change that you can effect in your life can create a radical reward you are looking for? Do you know that? That the small effect of change that you can release into your life can usher you to the place of radical reward you have been looking for. And all is built on difference. Do you know that there are some people, they don't even know the difference between themselves? That's why you fight about everything. Because it is different that will cause you to desire. If you think you and your lecturer are the same, what do you think will happen? That's why I told you that the law of difference is the explanation for honor. You can never give appropriate honor if you don't understand the law of difference. If you think we are all the same, you cannot honor me. No. You see people speaking to their mother like they speak to their friend. You are only a fool. Because you are completed university, you think you can raise your voice at your mother. You are a fool. How do you think that your completion of university turns your mother to become your age? You see ladies shouting at their men. You are just a fool to do that. Because you don't even know the difference between you as a lady and the person standing before you as a man. And I keep on saying, one of the biggest problem that has fallen on many ladies is their inability to recognize the differences among people. The way she can shout at the sister is the way she thinks she can shout at the husband. You are only a fool. You don't know. Because you have broken the law of difference. So don't allow your emotion to make you a foolish person, okay? Don't allow your emotions to... You get angry and you feel like you're a man. Hey, your emotional trigger has made you forgotten that you were a woman and the person standing before you is a man. It is just an expression of foolishness. Now, let's go to the second half of the law of difference. Can we go deeper? Can we go deeper? The law of difference. The gospel of the Lord has two parts. We have the person of Jesus. We have the principle of Jesus. We have the kingdom and we have the king. The person of Jesus talks about your salvation. The principle of Jesus talks about your solidarity. The person of Jesus creates your peace. The principle of Jesus creates your prosperity. Every prosperity of every person on earth is connected to the principles. And it is the principles that will usher you to the place of success. Don't forget that we have told you that the sustainability and the prosperity of everyone is wired on your ability to hold on to the laws of God. By the way, if you don't know the system of difference, how will you even know that there is something called principles you must work in? Proverbs chapter 24 verse 3 to 4. Proverbs 24 verse 3 to 4. By wisdom a house is built, and by understanding it is established. Wisdom builds. That means every building of life is based on difference. I've told you, wisdom is connected to your ability to see differences. We have already explained. That means every building of any area of your life is wired on your ability to see the differences. among entities. So the reason why you are not able to build your academic life is because you don't see the difference between your academic life and your health. So you see many people fooling around. The fact that you can pray for long doesn't mean you can live for long. And the fact that you can live for long doesn't mean that you can pray for long. Because there are different systems that require different protocol approach. The way you approach your health is different from the way you should approach your spiritual life. Why? Because it is the recognition of difference that will release the force of building. So people are just mixing things all together. That's why their life are failing. People don't understand the systemic balance of things. I've told you that life is a system. A system contains distinct elements that works in a form of relationship. Don't forget, I told you that the law of difference explains the force and the power and the passion for relationship. Because if you don't have relationship, the difference found in other entities cannot be able to supplement and complement your incompleteness and your difference. You understand? So that's why in every system there's a need for perfect relationship. For man to be able to receive from God and from God to be able to receive from man, there should be a perfect relationship between God and man. In the same way, nobody can be able to receive from any other person if there's no system of difference which will produce perfect relationship. And there's no perfect relationship anywhere where there's no recognition of difference. Because Ama will be treating Kojo as Ama. That's why there's offenses. Can I go there? What is offense? Offense is actually a threatening of interest. That's offense. Interest is the expression of uniqueness. Do you know why I get offended? I get offended because you didn't do what I want you to do according to my standard. That's why every time you get offended, you become a fool. Because there's nothing done in offense that will produce a success. Everything done in offense creates chaos. So the part of wisdom jumps the place of offense. Because this is how it is. I get offended because you don't treat me the way I feel I want to be treated. And you know one principle. The law of uniqueness explains that you are the only person to be able to please yourself. Because there's none like you. That means nobody on earth can do things the way you want things to be done. The only person that can please yourself is yourself. So you see people saying, happy yourself. Nobody can happy you, happy yourself. And anytime they are saying that, they are talking about the place where you must leave the community into the place of isolation, which is also the language of the foolish. Because isolation is actually the place of death and distraction. Because the man was created unto interaction and association. Because of the law of difference. So anytime I feel offended, then I feel offended because I am expecting somebody who is not me to be able to treat me as me, while the person is not having the element of me in himself. And such expectation is outside the place of wisdom. Because wisdom will tell you that the person standing before you is not you. And the person being not you cannot please you because of your distinct faculties and composition. So, if you get offense quickly, or you get offended quickly, then you are quick to become a fool. You are a quick fool. Or should I say, quick foolish. Why? I said, if you get offended quickly, it means you are quick to leave the place of wisdom. Because wisdom will tell you that the person is different from you. Am I in church at all? So from the Proverbs 24, verse 3 to 4, by wisdom a house is built, and by understanding it is established. By knowledge the rooms are filled with all precious and pleasant riches. No thinking man limits wealth to money. No thinking man. Wealth is when you have a lot of something you need. So when we say somebody is wealthy, it's not when the person has plenty money. Wealth is actually having abundance of what you need. That's wealth. So if I need water and have abundance of water, that means I'm wealthy. Am I preaching at all? Hey, but I like the way I preach you. Hey, my father is teaching me well. Ayakata. Can I preach on? Yeah. So wealth is when you have a lot of something you need, and a lot of something you love, and a lot of something that's necessary. Wealth is when you have a lot of something you need, a lot of something you love, and a lot of something that is necessary. So wealth is not limited to money that you have in your pocket and your account, or the cars available. If you have 200 cars and it's not something you need, and it's not something you love, and it's not something that is necessary, you are operating on the place of foolishness. Because wisdom produces wealth, and wealth is measured by having abundance of what you need, love, and that is necessary. So when you have something in abundance outside your needs, outside what you love, and outside what is necessary concerning your life, then you are operating on the place of foolishness. Why? Because you don't understand the difference among things. So favor is wealth, love is wealth, and loving family is wealth. By the way, the laws of God are the secret to living. Because in the laws of God, we discover the pattern of difference. So when we go to the Bible, we see holy and unholy. He's just talking about difference. Clean and unclean. He's just explaining difference. Obedience and rebellion, they are just differences. Saved and rebellion, they are just differences. Clean and unclean, they are just differences. Let's go to Genesis. Genesis chapter 1. Hey, if you read the Bible, from Genesis to Revelation, all is talking about different things and differences. In the beginning, which is different. Because beginning means there's something that will end. So the word in itself is a word of difference. Because they can be out, they can be on, they can be behind. I love Mr. Douglas. So the word in, the first word of the Bible, actually is a language of difference. In the beginning, beginning also explains a place, a time, a moment of difference. Because there can be end. God is actually an entity of difference. Because it can be man. There can be another entity that is creating. So in a place of difference, the beginning, the moment of difference, God, an entity of difference, created an activity of difference. Because he could have produced or hired, but he decided to create. He decided to make it his own instead of hiring it from somebody. So in the place of difference, the beginning, the moment of difference. So in the place of difference and the moment of difference, an entity of difference acted differently. Created the heaven, a place of difference, and earth, the place of difference. So in Genesis chapter 1 verse 1, we see the full manifestation of differences. in the vacuum expression of difference. Because it could have been on, it could have been out, it could have been behind. So, in the place of difference, in the beginning, in the time of difference, an entity of difference acted differently to create a different place at different time. Oh. So the first statement of the Bible expresses and enforces the law of difference. Nothing is the same. Throughout the Bible. Look at the verse 2. And the earth became formless. That is an expression of difference. That means the earth was in a particular state and changed to another state. That means the current state is not the same as the old state. So that means a system of difference has been operated. Void, darkness was upon the face of the deep, which is also a law of difference. And the Spirit of the Lord moved upon the surface. The Spirit of the Lord is also an entity of difference. Moved. Movement is also an entity of difference. You could have jumped, but he moved. You could have vanished, but he moved. Movement is a distinct activity of expression of an entity. So he decided to move instead of jumping, instead of swallowing, instead of speaking. So if you go down to verse 3, and the Lord said, let there be light. That one is an expression of difference. So everything in the Bible is explaining difference. 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 So everything in the Bible is emphasizing on the system of difference. There's difference. Right, wrong, difference. Islam, Christianity, difference. Sinner, saint, difference. Male, female, difference. Integrity, deception, difference. So your ability to walk in wisdom is your ability to recognize the difference among things. Difference among people, among moments. Difference among others. Difference even from you. So you must be able to know the difference from your difference from others and their difference from you. You see, do you know that some people are ashamed of their difference? Which is actually the language of the fool. You must be proud of your difference. I am a member of FOF. That is our difference. Papa Doggy is my father. That's the difference. Eja Konimu is my son. That's the difference. So you are not ashamed of your difference. Many people are ashamed of their difference. Because, do you know something? They don't understand this law. There are people who are trying to hide their identity and their identification. There are people who are trying to stay neutral. We are here, we are here. Oh. Who are they? Yeah. They are not walking on the path of wisdom. Because there is nothing on earth that is neutral. Light, darkness. Like, everything on earth is on opposition. Entry, exit. What again? Come, go. What again? Sit, stand. There's no middle ground. God himself has set systems. There's no middle ground. Either you are here or you are here. So being ashamed of your difference and being silent of your difference. Yes, no, close, open. All of them are there. So you trying to stay in the middle of difference is just an expression of your foolishness. Because there's nothing like that. If you are black, you are black. Somebody say God and Satan. If you are black, you are black. If you are white, you are white. If you are a Christian, you are a Christian. If you are not a Christian, you are not a Christian. Are you in church? Are you in church? If you are part of Assembly of Ancestors, you are part of us. If you are not part of us, you are not part of us. There's no staying middle ground, though. Because your quest to be neutral is just an expression of your foolishness. Because you don't understand the system of difference. And you cannot be two things at the same time. Never. Do you know something? In fact, becoming two things at the same time even makes you different from the two. Do I have some students in the class? You becoming two things at the same time is actually making you separate and distinct from the two things you are trying to become. Because at the end of the day, one leg in the water, one leg in fire, will make you different from the water and the fire. Do you understand? So the fact that you have one leg here, one leg here, even makes you distinct. Because the fact that you have one leg in water and one leg in fire still doesn't make you either a fire or a water. Why? There is nothing like a middle ground. And no two things, three things shall be the same. Because of the system of difference. Until you recognize difference, you cannot recognize wisdom. Because wisdom is the ability to recognize and discern difference. I'm not ashamed of my difference. We thank God for our difference. Because our thanksgiving to the difference is the acknowledgement and recognition and approval of what God has made us. Because God is the author, the authenticator, and the authorized system of difference. Anytime you are celebrating difference, you are celebrating God. Anytime you despise difference, you have despised God. And it is only a fool that will say in his heart that there is no God. Perhaps many people here, have departed the path of wisdom on their quest to compare, on their quest to contrast, on their quest to seek similarity, on their quest to see people like them, on their quest to see people becoming, acting, speaking, and doing like them. Because no two things or entities shall ever be the same. Because anytime we abuse the system of difference, disorder is the order of the day. And don't forget, anywhere there's disorderliness, distraction rules. This evening, God is calling somebody. Leave the place of foolishness. Come to the realm of difference. Because you have been created in the image of God. Our God is holy. Our God is distinct. Holiness means uncommon. Uncommon means distinct. Distinct means different. You worship a God of difference. So recognize your difference and recognize their difference and market their difference. Promote their difference. Multiply the difference, and you shall enter into the place of success. Because your success in life is anchored on your recognition of difference. I pray for somebody that today God will release somebody to the place of wisdom. It doesn't matter what has happened to you. It doesn't matter what you have been going through. It doesn't matter the number of things you have gone through. As you have encountered the first law of life, which is the law of difference, may the Lord open our eyes. If perchance all this while we have been living in the place of similarity and comparison and contrast, may the Lord open our eyes. That from today, we will not be looking out for what and for what and for what. We will not be looking out for strength and weaknesses. We will not be looking out for what he can do and he cannot do. We will not be looking out for good do's and don'ts, but we're looking out for the significance in the uniqueness of people. What makes this person different from me? What makes me different from this person? If there has been anything that is making us desire, that is making us promote comparisons, it is my prayer for you in this season that God will open our eyes and grant unto us deep revelation to be able to differentiate, to be able to cause the uniqueness, to see the differences among people, and to respect and honor and accept them, so that many people can have the assurances. There are some of us, because of the way we are, we have killed the confidence of people. We have set environment that is making people feel uncomfortable, desiring for things that are not theirs. We are putting pressure on many destinies, trying to be like something, trying to be like somebody, because many of us don't understand. We are placing huge expectations on people. Don't forget, in spite of all this, there's a place of learning. There's a place of adding value to yourself. There's a place of becoming better. But all this place of learning is in the emphasis of your difference. You don't learn to become an opposite of yourself, but you learn to become the essence of your difference. Because your judgment, your accountability to God, the day you die, will be, show me your difference. By the way, that day, you'll be standing there before God looking at the pastor, because you're using your pastor as a yardstick. But I came to tell somebody today that God is bringing grace upon us, that from today we are going to recognize the difference among people. We are going to accept the difference among people. We are going to market the difference of people. We are going to magnify the difference of people. We are going to manage the difference of people. Because sometimes this difference can bring conflict. This difference can bring offenses. This difference can bring strife. But because of the understanding we have today, from today, strife is taken out. Anytime somebody does something that we feel like becoming offended, we come to the place of difference. We understand that this person is not me. This person may not do this the way I expected. Because I wouldn't have done the same thing if I was in. I wouldn't have reacted if I was in the shoes. I wouldn't have said what she said. But because she's different from me, I'll be able to accommodate. That is where we come to the place of acceptability. That we accept ourselves. We accept ourselves. That is where perfect relationship is promoted. Because where difference is accommodated, relationship is promoted. And I see in this house how God is raising new people, how God is raising up people, new breeds of people who carry the lens of difference. Instead of we getting offended, instead of we getting hurt, instead of we moving to the place of pain, we rather shift to the place of difference. We understand the voice of understanding because we carry the wisdom of God. We carry the wisdom of God. We are not quick to judge. We are not quick to conclude on people. We are not quick to despise people. We are not quick to treat people in a particular sense, because God has brought us to the place where we are recognizing the difference. Even difference among our children, difference among our mates, difference between the mother and the father, difference among the various leaders we have, difference even among people and entities and places and time. And I see in this season, God is opening our eyes even into seasons. We will not be comparing seasons again. That we will not procrastinate again. We will not say that what I have to do in the morning, I will do it in the afternoon. Because we know what the morning is, and we know what the afternoon is. We understand the difference between the beginning and the end, the morning and the afternoon and the evening. I pray for people who listen to me, that under this grace, may the anointing of the Lord come upon somebody. One of the ways you're able to decode differences is in the lens of the prophetic. In the lens of the prophetic. When the prophetic come upon you, you're able to differentiate. The Bible says that one of the things the word of God is able to do is able to separate the bone from the marrow. It's able to separate the soul from the spirit. That means the word of God has the capacity to recognize difference. It's the ability to apply difference in situations, moments, and entities. I pray for somebody that as you are coming under the prophetic oil, as you are coming under the prophetic grace, may you begin to differentiate differentiate among times and moments and seasons. You know when to sow, you know when to reap, you know when to clap, you know when to pray, you know when to rest, you know when to work, you know when to move, you know when to stay, you know when to take a decision, you know when to speak, you know when to keep quiet, you know when to appreciate situations, you know when to shout at situations, you know when to be sober, and you know when to be vigilant, you know when to shout, and you know when to be calm. Why? Because we have the system of difference. We don't break structure anymore. From today, the Lord said, we are not going to break structure anymore. We are not going to break systems anymore, because He is raising men and women with a particular prophetic lens, with a particular prophetic ears, that we can discern among voices. We can discern the voice. We can separate the voice of our pastor from the voice of our enemies. We can separate the voice of our husband from the one who wants to break the marriage. We can separate the voices, that we are separate advices. We can able to separate the things that people are doing around us, because we have a lens that is able to divide motive from intent. We are able to have a lens that is able to define and differentiate sound from music. We are able to have the ability to decode and discern the difference between the sound and the noise. From today, we cannot be distracted, because we have come to another realm where we see the differences. We cannot be distracted anymore. We cannot be deceived by the devil, because we can come even in the sheep clothing. He can come as an angel of light. He can come as a best friend. He can come as somebody who wants to promote our ministry, who wants to promote our relationship. But because of the eye we carry, we can see the difference between the clothing and the identity. We can be able to see the difference between what he carries and what he actually is. I pray for somebody today that we have come to a different realm. You cannot make mistake again. You cannot.
God bless you for listening to this message. We hope you are blessed and equipped as you have been exposed to the light in the Word of God. For sponsorship and other expositions, please call this line 0547-810-722. God bless you and stay connected to the light.